Internet, Joe Pal Ron Howard from xTreme Sequences, bringing you another episode of Monday Minutes. Welcome to Solar Eclipse Day. How amazing is this? You know, when planets and moons and suns align, things happen. When things happen in the cosmos, things happen, right? And recently, some things have happened in the xLights cosmos. This vast universe, the software continues to amaze me, and the efforts put into it by many that contribute, not just the developers, but people that are willing to test the software and give feedback and squawk a little bit. It doesn't go unnoticed, and great things are happening. So today, I don't know, I feel like they're cracking the code. I feel like we're really starting to see some really amazing enhancements in the software that are going to benefit everyone. And anytime that takes place, I get excited. I know, look, I know some of you think I'm this like Mac fanboy. Yeah, Ron's a Mac guy. Look, I use the tools that help me in my business and what I need to get done every day. And even with these enhancements, would I change? Probably not. But would I be an advocate to suggest everybody get a Mac just to get Windows to work? I think we're going to see that lessen, and it should, because it should work on 3 platforms fairly equally. I don't know about the third one, but certainly Windows and Mac OS, it should work pretty well. And I think we're going to see improvements throughout the year. Do keep in mind, these improvements come with a cost, okay? So you have to be patient. As they enhance, it might break something else. Gil Jones will tell you, he did a lot of work on moving heads and now something's broken on it, but they'll sort it. They'll figure out what's going on in the code. And I think maybe for the first time in a long time, I sort of feel like the developers are starting to work together a little bit more. I really hope that's the case, because that benefits everybody. So let's get into some things. I didn't make a video for 2024.7 because it had some inherent challenges right out of the gate, okay? And then 2024.8 came out to resolve some of those and then add. But what I want to do is I want to focus not so much on what some of the challenges have been, but let's look at the enhancements that are taking place that you may not know about, okay? Not everybody lives in GitHub. Not everybody goes to Zoom rooms. Not everybody watches videos like these all the time. Maybe you'll stumble upon it. And since we're talking about this video, if you smash that thumbs up, I sure appreciate it. Helps the algorithms for the channel. And consider subscribing so you get notifications every time you want to see my mug stand here or sit here and make squawking noises about xLights, this software that I do so love. Let's get going. I have the release notes here, and I want to focus on 2024.7. And if we look here, this is something that I thought was long overdue. Yes, I complained about it, but it wasn't like anything bad. It's just, it was an annoyance. So if you've ever worked with the color curve dialog box, you know that grabbing one of those marks, it can be painful. And let me show you what I'm talking about here. If I wanted to right click on this color, it brings up a color curve dialog box, which allows me to put in all these other colors by clicking somewhere in here. And then if I want to, I can double click on that and I can change it to whatever color I like. And you can do this with each of these. You make that orange. I guess I'm going a Halloween look here. And then here's one more. Maybe I'm just going to make this color here. Okay. Great. Oh, wow. Whoa, looks like I double clicked in there. Yeah. So anyway, what used to be a real big challenge was getting this to move to the edge smoothly and clicking on it. Now, you can open this up, which I suggest you do. I try to make this pretty large, depending on the size of your monitor. But now clicking on this is a little bit easier. Now on the Mac, if I hold down the command key, I can make it move smoother than, well, actually, to me, it's about the same now. Yeah, okay, I like that. And let's see if we can get these to hit right on the timing marks here. There we go. And there you go. Well, it's not quite on there, but it's close enough for government pay. There we go. So this is much more smooth, and we can thank Joe Row 4. I don't know who he is, but he did something nice, so we like that. Let's move on to the next one. Mac OS, add shockwave to GPU render effects, and also add transitions to be handled by the graphics processor unit. These are good things. So what we're doing is we're taking some of that heavy lifting away from the processor so it can focus on other things, and letting the graphics processor unit handle some of that heavy lifting. So adding shockwave and transitions is great. And that was done by Mr. Culp himself. Now we see the Lua script updates to allow updating the master view. Now, Dale Irwin made a video on this, so if you go to the xLights gems, GEMS, in YouTube, just search it. He made a video that sort of explains this, and I think there's a lot more that he can tap into to take this to the next level, but I think this is really going to be good. Now, okay, so what are Lua scripts and these tools that we have access to? So I've done some videos talking about this, but in xLights, under Tools, okay, up here, Tools, there is a Run Scripts. Now, I've had success with some of these and challenges with others. This batch cleanup file location is something that I'm sort of interested in. What this would do is take all of your sequences after you choose the sequences you want. It would go out, find the links to the images, videos, shaders that may be associated with them if you don't already have them contained within the show directory, and run the script and basically copy those and put them in the images, shaders, videos section within the show directory that you have defined. So that could be a great thing, okay? There's the batch clone effects. I have not messed with that. Batch package, I have tried to work with this. I prefer just to batch one at a time. The batch render, again, hit and miss with this, okay? But this, and also the batch video export, what that's going to do, size your house preview accordingly. And basically you can choose the sequences and it will open, render, you know, I'm sorry, it will basically take that sequence, open it, and then output the preview to make a video if you want to do such a thing. I do those one at a time at this point. Make master. So this is the newest one from Daryl Irwin. This one's pretty interesting. So you can run this, well actually there's a few things that you have to do. Watch his video. I'm probably gonna make a video on this later, but I want a few more things to happen with it first. But you could basically select your sequences you want in the show directory, and I just watch his video. I don't want to go into it, but I think it's going to help get people to get their show directories in the area of edit display elements to give you a little more control of working with various sequencers that you may buy sequences from or get shares from. I think he's on the right path with that. You see what I did there? Path. See what I did there? Gosh, I'm gonna write that down. All right, let's move on with this. I promise I will make a video on that. Added RGB to go controller, Scott. Who's RGB to go? I don't even know who they are. I can't keep up. You guys keep popping up with new stuff every other day. I can't keep up with you. Okay. Add ability to add and edit aliases on submodels. Oh, bingo. As that English show would do for the people that do makeup. Ding dong darling. Don't ask. It's British. Just go watch it. Yeah, ding dong on this one, man. I'm telling you. This one, add ability to edit aliases on submodels. Let me explain this. This is really, really cool. And I think this is going to be the catalyst to making mapping so much easier across the board, no matter where you get your sequences from, no matter where you get your models from, your Coral, all that kind of stuff. As I've said to Daryl, I said, man, anything that can make life easier and better in the world of sequences and mapping, let's definitely do that. So if we go over here to our layout and I click on a model, let's just go over here to the click, click, boom. And then I will open this model up over here. You will see that there are submodels, okay? Now, here's the funny thing. Can I change an alias on a submodel? Nope. How about the portion of a submodel? Nope. The model itself? Well, sure you can. This right here, I can add an alias to this. So if I had some company called B2B Coral Production Incorporated, and they had a model called Snarfalophagus, and it was similar to this model, I could create an alias for this one, click, click, boom, called Snarfalophagus. And so in the mapping process, a sequencer that uses Snarfalophagus, but not click, click, boom, you'd have it map that over. So that's kind of cool. Now, that's pretty rudimentary, right? Let's take this to a practical reality. Let's say that you have a submodel group, like click, click, boom, cones, all group. And you can see it right here. So let's say you have that Snarfalophagus submodel group called, I don't know, cones. Maybe the same thing. Oops, somebody's stealing. Report them quick. You could click on the group, right? Let me open this up a little bit more so you can see what's going on. And we now have the ability, thanks to Daryl, to add an alias. So I could add Snarfalophagus. I don't know. Cones. Maybe that's what they called it, or maybe they just called it cones, or they call it group. Whatever it is, whatever that other model is, or I should say submodel group, that your sequencer doesn't use in their layout, you could add it here so that when you map from that other sequencer, you have a choice now, and it might automatically map over there if there's nothing else. So cones to cones. So this could be a great way for you to build a catalog of aliases to help you in your mapping process and not feel like you've got to pull teeth just to get your sequences to look good because you buy from 7 different sequencers that all have different models. I said it before, I'm going to say it again. These models, this coral plastic with holes that have shapes. Shapes are different. Do try to understand the difference between native and custom. This will help you in the mapping process. I've done videos on this. No, I'm not going to put it in the link. Go search. Don't be lazy. All right. So this is one way you could do this. And you could create as much or as many as you like until you're getting that really cool mapping. Now, is this sort of guessing? Well, yes and no, but you can really come up with some creative, unique outcomes by doing this. So spend a little bit of time and build yourself a catalog. Again, this proves why it is so important to stay current with updates. If you want to benefit from the enhancements, then update. Is there a chance there's going to be a bug? Well, hell yeah. It's xLights. It's open source. A lot of hands in the cookie jar. But that's okay. I'm telling you, the juice is worth the squeeze. Will they fix it? Yes. Would I be updating on November 27th? Probably not. No. Don't be cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Be sensible. But now is the time to try out the updates. That way you can give feedback as to what may or may not be working. And let me tell you something. Well, it works on mine. Well, I had to go back to 2024.2. Works fine. You know what? Congratulations on all your freaking success because it works for you, but it may not work for Sarah or Joe or Larry or Kendall. Well, I don't know where I came up with Kendall. Such an odd name. Don't name your children Kendall. Well, maybe you can. I digress. The point is, there are so many variances, and on the Windows side, who knows what video card you're rocking or how you have your system set up or what flavor of operating system you're on and if you've even updated your OS in the last 3 years. Great. So try to be cautious when you say, well, it works for me. Just go back. No, that may not work for them. I'm telling you. And it's the same thing on the Mac. What may work great for someone on the Mac may not someone else. I got a buddy, he's got over here, he's rocking 16 gigs of memory. I'm rocking 64. I have 0 issues. He's going to swapping page files already because he's got a giant, big ass show. And his computer's saying, I gotta dig into your hard drive a little bit. I hope you got a lot of hard drive. And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. These generalizations only carry so much weight, okay? So if it's working for you, that's great. That's great. But I would implore you to try to stay current if you can. Okay. Yes, some of them are going to be problematic and you're going to have to roll back. On the Windows side, I don't want to hear any complaining. Rolling back on the Windows side is pretty easy. Okay. Rolling back on the Mac side is a little bit different. When I rolled back to .2, I think it was, from .7, because I was having some challenges. All my bloody center point shifted. I was like, oh no, why? That's because there were enhancements made to shift with the crosshairs. And I went back to 2, it's like everything shifted. I'm like, oh man, I'm not gonna go through here and henpeck at this. I'll wait till .8 and then everything was fixed and it was fine. Okay, there we go. I think I've killed that horse. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. All right. Hey, you gotta admit, at least it's entertaining, right? It's not a talking head that's gonna bore the snot out of you. Or maybe I have. All right, save and use 3D model selection in xLights RGBFX.xml. This is good because if you bounce back and forth from 2D to 3D, a lot of times it may not remember that, and apparently this is supposed to help that. So if you're in 3D, it'll open up in 3D. If you're in 2D, it'll open up in 2D. That's, I believe, what I understand that to be. Show any model warnings, missing nodes, etc. before allowing users to create faces. I think that's probably a good idea. If you're missing nodes and your mouth is going to look all messed up like you shot a bunch of Botox in one side of your face, you know, people shouldn't use too much Botox. I think I see people that look like they use way too much Botox. I don't think it's healthy for you. Just a little. That one's free. That's a tip. All right, let's get to, there was one more. I think there was one more. There's a few more. Oh my. Fix some issues where buffer styles list would not update styles validate. Yeah, okay, great. Love it. Fix disabled effect still rendering. That's always good. Fix SVG shape effect. Nano SVG update. Okay, thank you, Scott. Fix scripting dialog not working. Thank you, Scott. Mac OS limit number. Okay, this is sort of a big one. So I've got this buddy. He went out and got this Mac computer, and he's like, hey, Ron, this is going to be good. Is this a good deal? Yeah, it's great. Go get it. Go get it. Spend money. I like telling people to go spend money. He gets it. He's like, wow, man, this thing renders so fast. And then .7 came out. Holy crap, Ron. My computer is struggling with shaders. It's falling apart, blah, 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 right? And it turned out, you know, and I said, hey, Dan, what's going on here? I've had a couple people tell me this, and he dug in, and it turned out that there was a limited number of OpenGL contexts. What does that mean for the shader effect? It means sort of like we had a gate on there, and we need the gate to be open more, I guess. And so he fixed that, and typically this is probably attributed to having maybe too little RAM. I know for a long time we said, you don't have to have a lot of RAM on a Mac. Err on the side of caution. Add as much RAM as you can on everything you got, and then we don't have to argue about it. Problem solved. It's just money. Another bug, Mac OS fixed non-mask transitions not rendering properly with GPU render effects. Great. Fixed timings from middle transition when buffer height HT is not 1. Well, mine's never not 1, so I never had that problem. Switch to sequence tab before loading sequence to avoid a very hard to reproduce debug crash. You know, isn't that the worst when you got a crash that you just can't reproduce, but you know it's there? That's called faith. All right. And then fix crash and DMX remap channel dialog. Thank you, Daryl Irwin, for that. Yeah. So Daryl and Dan have just been crazy busy doing a lot, and other developers as well. But they seem to be really hitting it hard, if you know what I mean. All right, so let's go to 2024.8. Apply to set type of video hardware. Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. Sometimes, I bet if I were a developer of a software and I mainly worked on one platform and the other platform seemed to always be so buttery smooth and people were always like, oh, it's so great. Isn't Ted great? Don't you just love Ted? Doesn't Ted just make you laugh in the office? Isn't Ted a good looking guy? Well, other people get sick of that. Like, damn, Ted. Ted looks like a jerk. I hate Ted. And you build up this animosity because you just can't be as nice and as charming as Ted. And you just want Ted dead. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm wrong. But after a while, it has to get frustrating that, gosh, man, why can't I just make Kendall look good? Why can't Kendall be more like Ted? And you wonder, and you're like, well, how do they make Kendall look good with video games? Well, we can't in xLights. And Ted's all like, I know. I'm not going to tell you. Buy back. But I think it's got to the point where we no longer have to prove that the Mac handles xLights better in many ways based on various scenarios. Not across the board, but pretty much across the board. But I'm partial to it because it works for me and my business. But now there is an ability to set the video hardware decoder on Windows. And if you have a Windows computer and you've been on the fence about getting a Mac, or you think you need a better video card, or you think you need more RAM, or just a whole new frickin' computer, take a look at 2024.8 and go to your preferences and look at your choices. Okay? This is going to be very, very important for you. In the xLights preferences, that's system settings, Ron. That is not xLights preferences. In the xLights preferences, you're going to see I believe it's going to be in other, probably. There's a GPU rendering that you're going to see here that is going to give you a choice of codecs to use. And so my laptop, my Windows laptop that I blew the dust off yesterday because I was so curious, only has 16 gigabytes of memory. And I chose a sequence, a Halloween sequence that I put on this computer, this MacBook Pro M1 with 64, and then this laptop with 16 gigs that's running Intel i7, and it's using Intel X graphics, okay? There was a choice on there to use DirectX 11, DirectX 11, which is what you would probably use for an Intel graphics card that's built in, okay, on a laptop. You also have CUDA, and you have Vulkan, and you have one other one. And you can do some research on what these various codecs do and how they handle video effects with a graphic processor rendering. And if you're on an Intel computer with that Intel graphics, you would probably use the DirectX. And what I can tell you is the first sequence, when I rendered it, and by the way, I'm doing this first without render cache. Turn that off, delete your render cache, just get rid of the folder, delete it. The DirectX was 86 seconds. I'm not going to do the .452, I'm just going to round up. 86 seconds. Without DirectX, if I just use what we've normally always had access to in rendering on the Windows side, it was 129 seconds. So I went from 129 to 86 seconds using the codec to use GPU rendering on a Windows computer. Just 16 gigabytes of memory. Now, because I only have 16 gigabytes of memory, if I invoke render cache, you may see that number actually take even more time. Now, remember, the first time you use render cache, it has to build it, so it's always going to take longer. So you have to render it another time after the first time when you invoke render cache. That's where you're going to see the benefits. But if you don't have memory, if you don't have enough memory, forget it. So if I'm rocking a computer with limited memory, and I have access 2024.8 on a Windows xLights installation, I'm probably going to use DirectX 11. Now, if I'm running a computer that is a desktop, and I have a nice card, a 3070, 3080, 3090 RTX card in there, I'm probably going to check out that the CUDA cores, to see what those do. And then I'm going to compare them. This is what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to compare these so that you can tune xLights to bring out the best rendering capabilities possible with your computer. Okay? This is a big change for xLights. Now, again, as I said earlier, this will have, and already has, broken some other things, but they'll get it sorted. Okay? All right. The rest of my notes, when I did turn on the render cache, it went from 86 seconds to 93 seconds. So if I don't use render cache, two things are good. I still get the faster speed, and I'm not filling up my hard drive with a bunch of render cache files. So I thought that was pretty good. What was my Mac render time? Out of the gate, without render cache, 36 seconds. With render cache, 22 seconds. But do you want to go spend $5,000 on a computer to get those speeds? If you want to, go for it. If you got a big show, go for it. If you got money to burn, go for it. On top of that, I still like the Mac ecosystem or the Mac platform in xLights because of the comfort features I get with colors and controlling colors. So I really do like that. Okay, so on the Windows side, remember, I don't have my Windows hooked up here, so just know, go to your preferences, go look for those codecs. You'll see a different drop down. It'll say FFM, and then you'll see the name of it. And drop me a line in the comment section to tell me what your findings were. I really want to know. I think if we get enough people doing this, we'll get great feedback for the development team, and I think they're really on the right path. I think this is huge. All right. Optimize face effect initialization on large models. Dan opened this up to be a little more efficient with handling large faces on large models. I had to reach out. Hey man, what does that mean? Just know it's better. Support 2 mouth colors if using force custom colors. That's always great. Flexibility. Thanks, Scott. Fix crash with sparkle. So this is a big one in .7. If you use sparkle, there was a sparkle debacle, and that's been fixed. Fix some crashes when deleting layers while rendering. It's been fixed. Fix issues with model blending not working. Been fixed. General Irwin fixed handling of custom models from base folders, which I'm still not using just yet. And hey, who's this guy? Who's this guy? Where'd he pop up? Who is he? Is this a new developer? Yeah, it's Keith Wesley. Everyone calm down. I'm kind of, I'm glad to see Keith take a little bit of a break. This guy has put his blood, sweat, and tears in this code for so long. And it's nice to see new faces come in and knock some stuff out of the park. So, hats off to everybody. All right, fix crash when adding aliases to new created submodels. So again, I've told you the aliases I think is a work of art. And then finally, Dan fixed saving the Z standard FSDQ files with massive channel counts. And let's face it, so many of us have massive channel counts these days because it's cool. Yeah. All right, folks, this has been a long-winded and passionate Monday Minutes. Please smash that thumbs up if you got this far and you enjoyed the content and you learned something from it. I'll be making more detailed videos about some of the things that Mr. Irwin has put in here. Until then, check out this software. It's worth the update. Know that you can always go back. Don't be afraid. Jump ahead of this. And by the way, Do not look up at the sun today without the proper protection. Don't be that idiot, please. Although Darwinism is something that favors the not so bold. All right, I gotta go. This has been Monday Minutes. I'm Ron. Thanks for hanging out. We'll catch you next week. See ya.